Any questions? Good.
You asked it in a way like you're looking for a fight.
Who's got questions? I'll kill you. Take it down. If you have any questions, Joe's.
Yeah. No questions.
I have a question.
Yes.
Oh, shit.
Joe, in your story collection, which I've read,
Yes, you're familiar with.
how much of it was conceived as it's a group of 20 stories that read as they do read as a group that go well together? Were they in fact conceived as a group of stories
No,
that
actually,
fit together?
there's stories that I've written over the last about 7 years, and then I had actually more when I started kind of calling the stories together. Most of them, I think 16 of the stories have been published in magazines or literary journals, and then as I started going through the stories, I realized that this theme, it's interesting because it connects to Arthur's book in a kind of parallel way, that this idea of catastrophes kept coming up. And I went and looked back at the oldest story, which was like, about 7 years ago, and then I kept looking and I realized it was this really odd kind of self-portrait of what's happened in this country in the last 7 years. Everything from September 11th to the war in Iraq to, there's a story that, I didn't realize it at the time, but I wrote like 3 months after the Hurricane Katrina, and it took me until I was kind of putting the stories together to realize, like, oh, this is really about people dealing with disaster. And I don't know if, I'm sure there's other times in American history when it seems like over the course of 7 years there's been one catastrophe after another. I've never lived through that, and so it just, it's really, it's difficult to, you look at the last 7 years versus the 90s and see how America has been struck by these, in some ways, self-made catastrophes. And so there's a question that comes up in the book again and again about how people respond to kind of small catastrophes, like in the story that I read where this wife keeps turning to a cloud to larger ones where kind of whole towns are dealing with them. So, wow, that was a really astute question. Thank you. Thanks so much. Anyone else? Anyone else? Well, yes, Peaches!
Moses, Paul, do you have two Arthur?
Oh.
Here's Paul Moses in his story too.
No, I know.
Oh.
Is there an actual answer to why Paul and Christian's house was spared? Like, do you have that in your mind? Like, did Robert help, or did you not decide?
Did you read? Did you? I mean, did I include that in this selection though? Did I mention that he was?
No, I read it.
Oh, you read it? Wow, somebody read one of my. No. Wow. Well, I mean, I thought, the idea of having him suffer and see the neighborhood go under, because I mean that whole thing is kind of true. I mean, what I just read as far as and East Tremont was kind of destroyed, and it kind of led to the fall of the Bronx in many ways. So, but I thought it would be too easy if he just got evicted and had to go. The crueler route was making him live there and see the neighborhood kind of undergo this kind of warlike transformation. So that's why, yeah.
This for Arthur. Well, it's not like that much of a question, but I read The Fuck Up, and I read Dog Run, and I read Fake Liar Cheat a few years back. So I mean, I don't have it fresh in my mind, but
Me neither. So.
But I enjoyed Dog Run probably the most out of the three that I did. She enjoyed Fake Liar Cheat.
Oh, I didn't write that though.
You didn't write that?
That wasn't that Todd Goldberg? Or is
I
that, I don't even know who. I'm not sure. He's one of the MTV people.
I thought that was under.
It's under their thing. I'll take credit for it. I'll accept royalty checks if they.
Oh, sorry,
if they can say.
That's okay. That's okay. I can answer a question about Fake Liar Cheat.
Sorry,
You should be
No,
happy.
don't
You
be.
should be happy she didn't say she liked that one the best.
Yeah, exactly.
But with Dog Run, how did you get the inspiration for all like the crazy things that happen? You just like.
Well,
Is it real based or no?
No, oh yeah, a lot of it was real based. I mean, it's kind of a patchwork, as I'm sure Joe can tell you that, so much of fiction, I mean, really it comes from a very, more truthful than truthful, I think, versus, but Yeah, I mean, let's see. I have a couple stock answers, but I mean, the long and short is it's basically just a patchwork of things that occurred. She was kind of a little bit of a woman I dated once, Mary Bellanova, the character of Dog Run. So, but yeah, and that's kind of the gist of it. You know. Also, MTV kind of said, if you give us a female fuck up, we'll publish it. You know, a little bit of a work for hire. A female hairstyles of the damned. Can you do that?
Done.
We're whores up here. There you go.
Well, thanks so much for
Thank
coming on.
you.
Friday. It was a
Thank
great
you.
pleasure.
I'm sure we're gonna have meetings like this, just the two of us.
Can you give them a hand for coming home?
Oh,
All the way from the East Village.
He came from Chicago. He came from Chicago. He's from Chicago. He's here in from.
But we have books up here. I did read both of them, and they are both very good.
Oh,
so
thanks.
thank you. Saying that I'd like to get a book, get it
Thank you for
signed, right
asking.
up here.
Thank you,
And,
guys.
Thank you. Great. I want to know, do you have teenage daughters?
Do I have a teenage daughter? I have an 8-month-old daughter.
Okay.
She's not teenage by any means. Why do you ask?
I was like, well, how does he know